ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. James Knows Nothing channel yet again. 3 videos in a week, so it's a good week for you guys. Welcome back to the channel where you watch a man who knows literally nothing about anything, try and talk about something. Let's talk about Dele Ali. So it's been pretty much a year since Dele Ali revealed his troubled past to Gary Neville during an exclusive interview with Sky Sports. Up to that point, the decline of Dele Ali's career had been nothing short of spectacular. Dele Ali shot from League Two side MK Dons to Spurs after an impressive run of form. So after signing for Spurs, Dele became an overnight sensation, scoring sensational goals which put his quality on display for all to see. Putting up monster numbers as well. In the 2016-17 season, Dele scored 18 goals from midfield, that season being the one where he established himself as one of the game's most exciting prospects. Dele certainly achieved a lot in his early career. He scored in the 2018 World Cup for England, he won back-to-back PFA Young Player of the Years, and he also got the Premier League Team of the Season in consecutive years as well. To be honest, at that time, as much as we all like to take the piss out of that scumbag club that is Tottenham Hotspur, actually I quite like Spurs, don't know why I said that. Everyone loves to rip the piss out of Spurs these days, and kind of, they're not a joke of a club, like they're still competitive, but compared to, for anybody who is, you know, who was watching the Premier League a few years ago, Spurs, everything seems to be going right for Spurs, with Harry Kane proving that his talents are more than a one-season wonder, and their squad was very well balanced in terms of they had a lot of really exciting young players like Kyle Walker, Dele Ali, Harry Kane, but then they also had a good mix, and they also had Heung-min Son back then as well. It's crazy to think how long he's been at Spurs. But then they also had older heads. They had like Hugo Lloris, they had Toby Alderweireld, they had Jan Vertonghen, they had Moussa Dembele. So the squad itself, or the starting 11 at least, was really well balanced. And then they also had Mauricio Pochettino, who again at that time was this very young, exciting, enigmatic manager. And if you look at, not to get sidetracked, but if you look at the amount of competitions in which Spurs have finished second, during that period Spurs should have won 2 league titles, I'm pretty sure. They also should have won a League Cup. But my point more being is this was a really exciting Spurs team, and Dele was kind of like the antithesis of this Spurs side. Now you know how that story ends up. Spurs end up trophyless. Half the players who I just listed faded into obscurity once they left Spurs. Mauricio Pochettino, to be honest, has not looked the same since he was at Tottenham. Obviously he went to PSG, most recently was at Chelsea. I'll just be honest, he didn't do much. He got Chelsea to a League Cup final, and then he also won the league with PSG, which, I'm not being funny, my granddad could do that, and he's been dead for 10 years. But of all the players I just listed, Dele had the most brutal decline of any. Dele Ali's form seemed to drop off a cliff as time went on. When Jose Mourinho arrived at Spurs, he brandished Ali as lazy and claimed that Dele would not fulfill his potential as a footballer. It seemed yet again that the special one was correct, and that Dele Ali simply couldn't handle temptations that come with being a professional footballer. As time went on, Dele's form continued to get worse and worse, to the point where people even questioned whether it was Dele's form anymore, or whether his attitude had condemned him to the purgatory which had taken so many before him. And then time goes on, and images of Dele Ali doing things he shouldn't be surface. He had the move from Spurs to Everton, and the loan from Everton to Besiktas. There was issues with payment, there was issues with drugs, there was issues with all sorts, and everything that could go wrong in Dele Ali's career seemed to be going wrong. And whilst all that was happening, as football does, the mechanism that is football moved on from Dele Ali. People kind of just forgot about him. They just thought, you know what, he's clearly gone off the rails, or his attitude's not there, or maybe injuries, but he's never going to be the player he was, so let's just forget about him, throw him on the scrap heap, move on to a shinier new Dele Ali, being Jude Bellingham. And whilst everybody had their attention on Jude Bellingham and all the other young English stars, and Dele Ali had been cast out to rot, an interview was uploaded to YouTube on the Sky Sports channel by Gary Neville, and this interview was with Dele Ali, and they sat down and went over basically what had happened in Dele Ali's life. Dele had talked about some very serious things that I won't go into detail about, but it was things about addiction and rehabilitation and trauma from when he was a child, and you know how he'd had to go through an awful lot at such a young age before he'd even become a professional footballer. And basically all of this was him contextualizing his career. I don't think he was doing that interview to make excuses at all, and that's not my place to decide, but it was definitely, he was contextualizing why there had been a decline in his career, and he was almost trying to remind everybody, hey, there's a human being here, and I've been through shit the same way that everybody's been through shit. Just because I may not be performing on the pitch, that's just not my attitude. There are other things at play, and there are other demons that I've had to battle with. And it was a very, very eye-opening interview. It got an enormous response from the football community. Loads of footballers publicly shared their support for Dele Ali, and it was a very powerful interview. Gary Neville was crying in multiple stages throughout that interview. And it really just, I think, it made the football community take a step back and be like, right, we're so quick to, like I said earlier, discard a player who was once onto the scrap heap to rot and just assume that it's his fault and it's, I can't be arsed with them anymore. I wash my hands of the player. And again, this interview kind of just, like I said, made everyone realise, like, oh wait, maybe there's more to play here. And Dele Ali did something that most footballers, if not all footballers, don't do, and that is speak up. He made his voice heard. He said, I've got shit going on. I'm not perfect. I'm not admitting to be perfect, but through the media scrutiny and everything else that's been, all the criticism that he's faced, I think he was well within his right to be like, no, there are reasons for why I've not been playing so well. It's fairly old now. I feel like everybody will have seen it who watched these videos, but if you haven't, I will leave a link to the interview with Dele Ali in the description below, because I do think it's quite important that young football fans do watch that interview and do understand there's more to a footballer than just what's going on the pitch. And that's kind of where the story's been left. Dele hasn't played since that interview due to troubles with that hamstring injury, I believe. So nobody really knows whether he has his mentality is legitimately switched and he's back to that old Dele Ali. The thing is, it's been nearly 7 years since we've really seen any sort of quality out of Dele Ali. And I personally have got to question whether any player can pick up his form after that long on the sidelines and that long not being in form. Because again, like, there's that classic saying that form is temporary, class is permanent. But Dele Ali, we haven't seen anything from him in the best part of a decade. And I would love Dele Ali to have this redemption story and to come back, recapture his form, maybe join a bigger club, win some trophies, and have like I said, a real redemption arc in his career. But 7 years. Okay, for the 7 years that Dele has also not been playing football, not been performing, the entire landscape of football has changed. Players are now stronger, faster, more tactically astute. Dele has had a long time away from the pitch, so whether he's able to compete or not, we'll see. And for those of you who go, oh, well, it's not actually been that long, you're talking about it as if it's been decades. Football changes incredibly quickly, and when Dele Ali dropped out of form, this was when Pep just started to kind of transform English football. Take it up to today, and again, look at the academy products that come out of City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs. They're all top class, and whether Dele Ali can compete with these younger, faster, stronger players, we'll see. They're all now having tactics taught to them at such a young age that it's almost like habitual to them. So we'll see if Dele can adapt to that. Again, just to contextualise how good Dele Ali was, it's not like he was putting on like world-class displays against Crystal Palace and West Ham. It was world-class performances, man-of-the-match performances against Real Madrid. In fact, Real Madrid were touted to buy Dele Ali for ages for north of 100 million, which shows how good he was, and also highlights the parallels between him and Jude Bellingham, who obviously signed for Real Madrid for 100 million, a year ago, basically. Like, if you really look into their careers, there's a lot of similarities between the two players. And I'm not saying that Jude Bellingham isn't fantastic, but Dele had a flair and elegance. I think he was more of a natural football player than Jude Bellingham. And again, it's very difficult to compare the two because there's so many different nuances to comparing two footballers like that it is quite tricky to say that one is better than the other. However, if you were to put a gun to my head, I would probably say that Dele Ali edges Jude Bellingham in that debate. In fact, so I saw this on Instagram today. I will put the graphic on screen, but it's comparing Jude Bellingham at 21 to Dele Ali at the age of 21. Their stats are so similar. So Jude Bellingham, who obviously hasn't played in an advanced role for his entire career, he's on 30 goals, 30 assists in 155 games. Dele Ali at the age of 21 had played 146 games, scored 46 goals, and made 41 assists. It's not like Dele Ali was overhyped or anything, and it really does show the massive drop-off to where he is now. And going back to whether Dele Ali can recapture that form or not, another factor at play is that when Dele Ali was at his peak of his powers, he was playing with Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, Moussa Dembele. Even some of the other players who aren't that rated, Jan Vertonghen, Toby Alderweireld, Eric Dyer, they were still a lot younger, a lot fitter, a lot faster, a lot stronger, a lot more competitive. He was being managed by Maurizio Pochettino as well. That's like the perfect environment for a young player like Dele Ali to show his best attributes and to get the best results and the best numbers. Now he's playing in a Everton side that has nearly been relegated 4 times in 3 seasons, managed by Sean Dyche. It's not the same thing. So it's even harder for Dele Ali to shine in this Everton team especially. Dele Ali will always take me back to a time, for me, when football was different. There was so much more expression on the pitch. There was so much more emotion. I felt like players were more unique on the pitch instead of death by passing. A time when players like Mesut Ozil and Sadio Mane were scoring breathtaking goals every week, when Bobby Firmino and David Silva would produce ballet on the ball. So to see a young lad like Dele Ali also do that kind of thing at such a young age was genuinely inspiring as a football fan, and he genuinely just set the game alight. He was electric at times, and like I said, he's one of those players that just takes you straight back to a memory of a certain season. Mine is that 16-17 season, and again, I don't think we've seen a player with that much quality in that position since. Maybe Phil Foden, but again, there's positional differences, there's different things at play. But Dele Ali for me was he was the perfect young player. One of the main things that Dele Ali was praised on in his youth was his tenacity. Whilst being graceful and elegant player on the ball, he was also aggressive. He wasn't afraid to leave his foot in or get into a player's face if he needed to. So that side of his game, if it is still intact, will be a massive benefit when he is trying to compete today in a faster league. So I do hope that Dele Ali can return to his former glory. The emotional side of me thinks, fuck it, why not? It would be a great story. However, the logical side of my brain says he's been out. It would be nearly impossible to see a player that's been out for that much time, had that much media scrutiny, jump back into being one of the best players in the league. And let's be honest, that's what Dele Ali was. He was one of the best players in the league. There's certainly space for a comeback in terms of, I'm sure he could come back, maybe join a side like Fulham, Brighton, a mid-table Premier League side, and play a bit part in their campaigns and you know, play in the Premier League till he's 32, 33. But I think that what we all want to see from Dele Ali is him go back to being that world-class footballer, to see him get back into the England side, to see him get back into, you know, maybe even go back to Spurs. I don't know what the move is for Dele Ali, but I don't want to see him sitting on the bench at Southampton or Brighton for the next 6 years and then retire as if nothing's happened, because I just think it would be a great example as well to football fans and to everyone in general about how you can come back from these dark places and you can come back from these tough times, and I would love to see him come back. The only other thing is, again, that's the emotional side of me talking. But anyway, just a short video about Dele Ali. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that normal stuff, and I will try and get another video out to you as soon as possible.